Welcome to the Fight Lawyer Podcast, where we discuss combat sports and the law. Our guest today is Jackson Wink MMA General Manager Michael Lyubimov. Michael, thanks so much for taking the time to do this.
Very welcome, sir.
So, I know you're initially from out east. Tell me a bit about your history and how you ended up in New Mexico.
Well, I have a kind of lengthy history, really. I mean, I was born in Moscow, Russia, grew up there, moved to the United States in around 1995, 1996. Came as an exchange student, lived in Wisconsin, out of all the places, very small town, like with 9,000 people. Coming from Moscow with millions of people, was kind of big culture shock. And ended up in Wisconsin, went to school there, played hockey. Then as I was there, my parents moved to New York. My mother moved to New York, and then I came to meet her, and then, ended up extending my stay and pretty much literally just became an American at that point. It's kind of, I was young, I was like 16. I lived there for a while, went to school in New York, lived in Brooklyn, all over the place, Brighton, Shipshead Bay, and Bay Ridge, actually, one of my first places. And then ended up going to military, actually, ended up going to the United States Navy, did some time there. And then when I got out, I ended up in New Jersey, and then I started training there in New Jersey, and ended up working with a lot of fighters. I was training in Sambo back in the day, actually, in Russia, and I've been kind of playing around with jiu-jitsu here and there, and ended up going to jiu-jitsu school. I had around my work, Hands of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and literally got so hooked that I couldn't stop training, and I started visiting different gyms and going from gym, to gym, traveling to cool places and stuff, and met a lot of fighters, and ended up actually working with a Russian management company at that point that had like Khabib Nurmagomedov, Adlan Namagov, Timur Valiev, Shabullah Shamhalaev, so like some big names in the MMA world, and ended up working with them, also traveled all over the world kind of thing, and ended up, obviously, the world-famous Jackson Wink gym was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I traveled to many gyms, actually, at that point, and ended up coming here with one of the fighters, helping get ready for one of the UFC fights, and pretty much kind of like met Coach Winkle John, the owner of this new facility here, and we kind of hit off, and the one thing led to another, and they were actually in the transition of building this new facility. And what happened is he asked me to send him more Russian fighters, and he kind of mentioned through the conversation he's looking for general manager because they opened a new facility, 30,000 square feet, this and that. And I said, hey, I before I ran like internet department for car sales, I was a manager like big call center. So I had a lot of administrative work. I had a lot of martial arts experience. I had military experience. So all the things that I pretty much did in my life kind of led to being able to run literally the best gym in the world. So, and we talked. He took me to the new facility, showed me around. And I couldn't believe that it was happening, actually. I was like, no way, man. Like, what am I doing here? Like, is he really considering, And then he just, like, the next day he told me, I'd like you to move over here. And at that time, I lived in New Jersey. So I went back to New Jersey, packed all my stuff, literally drove, like, 30 hours here. And here we are, like, 2 years later, more than 2 years, 3 years later. This gym is... We turned it into one of the best gyms in the world. I probably went through like 5,000 fighters coming here for camps, in and out. And I probably talked to like 30,000 fighters more. I get so many emails, calls every day. And how much I settled down here, moved my family and everything. So I love it here. I love Albuquerque. I love the climate. I like the culture. And I love the gym.
So what are your primary duties and responsibilities at Greg Jackson's?
Oh, man. if I had to write out a list, man, it would take a book, really. But pretty much everything, I'm in the middle, in this epicenter of this fight world. Literally, like at my office here on the first floor, people look in, fighters look in and stuff like that. They go through me and things like that. So it's pretty interesting. I mean, everything. I mean, I'm a web designer, also graphic design, build the website, so I communicate social media. I run everything, pretty much the whole gym. So me and Coach Wink work very closely together. And, the owner of the facility is actually Coach Winklejohn, not Greg Jackson. Greg Jackson is a coach, and he's a front man type thing. But the actual owner and a striking genius, striking coach behind the whole operation is Coach Winklejohn. So. But obviously, people got used to the fact that, called Jackson's because before it was mainly Coach Jackson and Coach Wink was kind of in the background, but he was always in the background, really, even now. He doesn't like to be the front man and dealing with all that stuff. He just wants to train fighters. But, just many responsibilities, make sure place is safe, secure, fighters coming in, the place is generating revenue, that everyone's paying on time. Pretty much, it's a huge operation. I'm just used to multitasking all my life, so I just pretty much cover everything. I mean, I do get help from here and there from many people, but mostly it's like just me and Coach Wink. I mean, we have a lot of coaches and stuff. Everyone helps each other out, really. It's a big team.
Now, you guys are well known in the industry, one of the top flight gyms in the country. What do you think you guys do to cultivate these top fighters in ways that other gyms maybe can't?
Well, there are a lot of great gyms out there that have so much star power and stuff. It just interesting the way this whole place fell into it. Like in the way of I guess success been success. That's one of those things. I mean, I have this wall in front of me that I'm actually looking at it right now, and it's got like all the magazine covers of all these famous fighters like Carlos Condit, John Jones, Hollister, Andre Arlovs, Holm, and Diego Sanchez, and Tim Kennedy, and Derek Brunson. It's just like the who's of who of the sport, and it's like, I guess, people want to associate themselves with the success, and because obviously, Greg Jackson started with a very small gym, and it just grew and grew and grew because they were winning fights, they were winning championships, But I always give it to Diego Sanchez for putting this Albuquerque on the map, because Diego Sanchez was the first one to win the Ultimate Fighter series, and he was one of the first ones, and then that's when all eyes fell on Albuquerque. Say, where's he coming from? And then they found out how big of a fighting culture this place is, and it just people, like I said, people want to associate themselves with these guys, and so that's why it brings so much other talent from all around the world. In this facility, we have about 50 fighters living here at the gym. We have dorm rooms, apartments, restaurant, store. We have 2 full-size cages, a lot of mat space. There's so many big name fighters, and obviously all the up-and-coming fighters, they want to be next to those guys, because obviously those guys have made it, right? They're making a ton of money. They're pretty successful. So all those guys are looking up to them. They're coming through here. They want to train with those guys. They want to learn from them. And because they have that chance too. You can be that same guy. You can be the next John Jones. You can be the next Carlos Condit or Donald Cerrone. So that's what I think makes this place. It's just, I don't know, I call it a little Disneyland for fighters, because there's so much cool stuff going on here, and the place looks like a museum the way we made it, like with all the belts and memorabilia and school. It's pretty cool.
How important is privacy to your training sessions? In other words, how do you limit what the public sees as it relates to your training methods, which are, I assume, highly sought after?
Oh yeah, it's very private. Yeah, we don't let anyone film fighters when they're training and stuff. I mean, we get a lot of traffic because we have a doctor facility. We have one of the best doctors upstairs, Dr. Bull Hightower. He has an amazing crew of doctors and physical therapists and things like that. So we get many fighters come through, and actors and many like high-level personalities. Because there's a huge movie industry here, and so we get a lot of visitors just because they want to see the gym, and they come in upstairs to see the doctor and stuff, and sports medicine and fitness athletes and all this stuff. So, but we have signs everywhere, and pretty much everyone knows not to film the fires. Plus, if anyone sees that they're being filmed, they're like, "Hey, shut it down, erase it," So people know, they know that it's a place of work, the place of business. People line up here all the time, like, "Can you take a picture with Holly Holm and John Jones?" Stuff like that. I'm like, "No, you can't. This is a place of work. We don't do meet and greets over here. We don't do photo sessions over here. This is where they work." And if you ever want to, get a hold of them, whatever, just follow them, see where they do the events and things like that, and go meet them there, So, yeah, we keep it private. We don't film it. We don't share it, that type of stuff and all the codes and things like that. Obviously, it's sacred to us, and it's for us to know. But yeah, we're being studied all the time. Like, what do we do? How we do it? How do we do it? But it's normal.
Now, what's your position on the way these days for your fighters who are fighting in the UFC? Sponsorships are being limited so strongly that most of your fighters have this huge chunk of their income so badly restricted. How do you feel about that?
Well, I try not to get involved in talking about that, obviously, as much because it's been talked about so many times already, and it's kind of like one of those things that we can't change anything about it, really. I mean, we're not in control, right? So, yeah, I mean, some fighters got affected more than others. I mean, but like these high-level fighters, I mean, they still, they still get sponsorships. If you got like someone, John Jones, Holly Holm, your fighting purses grew up dramatically too. I mean, this guy's getting millions of dollars too. So, I mean, but many of them are still sponsored outside because all these guys have such a big social media following. So you see these guys always post something in regards to sponsorships. So, but like for low-level fighters, it's kind of harder. But, people adapt, right? I mean, some people lose money, but it's an open market too, kind of, I mean, I know UFC is a big, big power organization, but at the same time, they have many other organizations that fighters look at too. But the sport is growing in tremendous pace. And I guess, the sport is growing, the fighting growing, the knowledge grows. Sponsorship grow, there's Bellator, there's, now we're going to see how remember World Series of Fighting, now they renamed it to Professional Fight League. That's a big one. We have potential to make $1 million at the end of the tournament. I think they get sponsorships. So there's opportunities out there, but just, and we know UFC gives these guys huge exposure, and with that comes many other opportunities. So I guess that's how the world operates, you get people do a lot for exposure these days and to grow their social media. So, and being a UFC fighter obviously is a big deal. So, we'll see where it takes. I mean, we're still in the beginning stages of the sport, right? It's been only 20-some years, right? It's not like boxing, hundreds of years, but I would believe that the way it's growing and the way income is growing for these fighters, it's going to just get better. People love to watch people fight,
That's right. Now, just recently, one of your higher profile fighters, Cowboy Cerrone, had a bad night. Do you think perhaps his activity, the frequency with which he fights, had anything to do with that?
Well, not really. Just this was the longest he didn't fight in between fights, actually, if you think about it. And it just, people do not see what goes into preparations and behind the scenes stuff, and the chance and the opportunities and things like that. I mean, life is life, right? I mean, we can plan, do this and that, train to do this and that and stuff. We never know how it's going to go, right? Even in life. So, and there's so many factors. I mean, Cowboy, so many wars, so many fights in his life, and so many injuries and things like that. And you have to also realize that, for example, Coach Jackson wasn't even in his corner because he has some issues. He couldn't go. So there's many factors fall into place why the fighter might be affected. So many injuries. I train myself. I'm a jiu-jitsu guy. I haven't trained for 3 months because my back hurts so bad. Like I couldn't walk. I've been rehabbing and stuff. Like, people don't see things like that, like how painful and how gruesome and brutal the sport is and what your body goes through. And then you're out there under the lights, and you come out and you have this young up-and-comer out of your weight class, which Cowboy is not a real 170, right? Not a real welterweight. Steps up against this humongous guy that outweighs him by 30 pounds. Muay Thai world level striker, and gets hit in the face with an elbow and gets his nose broken, and then the end of the show, So there's many factors, people tend to overlook what it's all about. Actually, they just see you for that 5-10 minutes, and they see the end result, and then that's it. They write you off, but they don't understand anything really. That's how I see it.
You're a military guy, and there are a lot of fighters who are military guys who are able to make that transition. Why do you think it's relatively common to have MMA fighters who have been in the military, have some military experience? What traits are there that could transfer over?
Well, discipline, one, obviously, it's an obvious one. Discipline, and desire to win, desire to fight, desire to be a badass, as most guys want to be, and who doesn't like fighting? It's like it's one of those sports where, many people, when they, a lot of these guys that come out of the military, a lot of them have previous backgrounds. They wrestled in high school, they played football, they were athletes, and then many guys go to serve for different reasons. Maybe people needed work, needed benefits. People need to, they want to serve their country, they want to get education, things like that. And when they get out, if they, they don't do 20 years and they don't do their retirement, the whole tour, then they come out, and what else do you do in life? Like if you have that desire to still work hard and achieve, because a lot of them come out after 4 years, they're still pretty young, and this is a young man's game, right? So you come out, and many of them train while in military. We have Tim Kennedy here, we had so many badasses come through. I have the Dominic Waters over here, Marine. So there's like every other fighter probably is a military individual for sure. And Greg Jackson trains military actually trains Spec Ops. We have guys that come here literally, Navy SEALs, have Delta, we have like who's of who here. It's like one of those places that it's just like, wow, I can't believe I'm here. But that's why I think it's a fairly easy transition, because in the military you learn pretty much how to be a fighter in real life, and this is just hitting people in the face. You're not really risking your life. So it's actually easier than being in the military, because being in the military can be scary. Depends where you're at. So this is not scary. I mean, it's nerve-wracking, but it's not scary. Where like, oh, I'm going to die right now. I'm on the bullets. So that's why a lot of these guys make good fighters, because they have that mentality. They have a strong mentality to become a fighter,
That's right. Now, I know your biggest star, arguably, is Jon Jones. I'm not going to talk about the details of what he's going through, but do you think he'll be back, that he'll be able to climb back to the top of the mountain once again?
Yeah. I won't say, I don't see why not, and once again, people don't know Jon Jones as good as, let's say, as we do. And obviously, he's not perfect, and he's done some mistakes, and we all have. And just because him being a public figure, and he's just a very easygoing, outgoing guy that just likes to have fun, things like that. But Jon Jones is a very good-hearted person, and he's obviously, they bother him a lot, and he gets pulled in so many different directions. But if you get to know him, hang out with him, he's a cool individual. Like this, he always comes in here, and if you see someone like new in the team, he'll always come up to them, shake hands, talk to them, welcome to the team, always joke around. He's a good individual, and maybe I would say somewhat a little bit naive in the way that he's just not careful with the things. He just doesn't think that something's going to happen to him, because he's just used to, I guess, from being a young man, having so much success and stuff. Like, I don't know, Jon Jones is just, he trusts people a lot, and maybe that's what gets him in trouble, because I wouldn't be surprised that, and I truly believe, that he might have taken it again by accident, because he doesn't check what he drinks or eats and things like that. And I know that personally. You'll have a guy standing next to him and say, "What's that, protein shake?" He's like, "Yeah, he can have it," and just work out, and he'll drink it. I'm like, "John, what are you doing? Why? You don't know what's in it. You don't know what protein it is. You know what someone else put in there, so things like that." So I wouldn't be surprised he got, I guess, busted, after the fight, if he was there, like, cutting weight to somebody, and he took, like, someone's bottle and drank it, or somebody put something in it. who knows, but it just none of it makes sense what happened to him. Just none of it. If you would have seen him, how hard he worked to get there, to get back that title. Every day I see him here grinding and working. I'm training with him, and I see how his mindset is working. And all this, you saw the coming in and testing everyone all the time. That he like every day. There's no way a man knowing that, that USADA is here, USADA, watching him, and they're going to test him before and after, especially after when it's a guaranteed test. He passes a random test, but then he gets popped on a test that he knows he's going to take. So, like, I just don't understand. I just don't understand. That's my whole thing. And no one understands it, really. It's like one of those mysteries. Like, what the hell?
Where do you rank him among the best fighters in the history of the sport?
Well, definitely. Well, it's funny because for me, it's it depends on how you look at it. Because I'm a big fan of Fedor, obviously. Being Russian, and I grew up watching him fight, and just tremendous individual and stuff like that. But then I don't know Fedor personally. I met him a couple of times, but I know John a little bit better because I trained with him. I grappled with him. He was here all the time. Come in, sit down here, I'll talk to him and stuff. But if you look objectively and things like that, and who he beat and who he fought, and I mean, the guy never lost, never. And the amount of competition he destroyed is very big, So, I mean, I just hope history will be kind to him in the way of, ranking him up there, because he's definitely the greatest of all time. But then, you always have a debate between these four, John Jones, you got Fedor, you got GSP, and you got Anderson still. And like, who knows? And then 100%, a couple of years from now, some new amazing talent will emerge that's going to be up there. So I think there's more room than for one, John Jones. I mean, John Jones could potentially be Muhammad Ali of MMA, but that's how people like to put these fighters on this pedestal, greatest of all time. And there's so many great fighters. How do you judge it? How do you really I mean, it's at that point it becomes an opinion. It's your personal opinion, I would say it is between John and Fedor. It definitely is. But, he never lost. So that's how whoever he beat, I mean, he was in the best organization in the world, going through the best. I mean, the kid was so young, he ran through Shogun Rule like it was nothing, taking the way, taking his belt away, and then started dominating everyone, who's of who. And, so that's how I see it. It's hard for me to say, but he's definitely one of the greatest fighters to ever live.
How much of his talent is natural talent, and how much of it is hard work? He seems like the kind of guy that obviously works very hard, and nobody can deny that. Yeah. But he is gifted in ways that many people just aren't. What do you think about that?
Well, he's definitely a physical specimen. The way he's built, it's like, sometimes you meet those, professional athletes in their line of work. Like I've worked with hockey players, I've met hockey players, football players, wrestlers and stuff. It's like there's certain people built or develop certain traits that just define them, and you kind of look at, he plays football, he's hockey, he's MMA, he's a wrestler. The way people walk, the way people carry themselves, the people act. I don't know, John, just when you see John, it's just like, he's born to do what he does. It's like, it's funny, he's got unorthodox build. I mean, people make fun of his skinny legs and stuff, but they're not that skinny actually. When you see him in person, in pictures it looks kind of, but he's a big guy. Like, he's a big guy, but at the same time, he's proportionately built. He's got very good physical attributes. He works hard, and he trains a lot. He trains definitely a lot, but I guess maybe it's just his mind too, It's like the way he sees the fight, the way he breaks them down, the way he reads the fighters, what separates him, the way he can, he definitely has a good chin. It's just, I don't know, just all the good traits fell on him, and he became what he became. But he definitely works hard. It's not like people always say that he's bigger than our guys, his reach is, bigger, he should be a heavyweight. stuff like that. If you see him next to a heavyweight, to Alistair Overeem or to Andre Arlovski, like, there's no way this kid is a heavyweight. If he picks up a bunch of muscle and start eating like, like crazy and blows up to 240, 250 maybe, but he's not a natural heavyweight. He works around 225, 230, cuts down, everything is cut out, 15 pounds, 20 pounds, whatever, to make the 205. He does it easy, never had problem with weight. And so why people say that, then you look at Daniel Cormier, and he's smaller, but he's thick as hell. He's actually more of a heavyweight than John, but then just John just taller. So it's like everyone's different, but John definitely is definitely a physical specimen, though. But yeah.
Now, do you guys have any fighters in the gym right now that maybe the public hasn't heard about, who you think will be making big moves in the coming months and years?
Oh, there's plenty, sir. There's plenty. I mean, if I had a list to go off, it'd take forever. Are you talking about in the major organizations right now, or like somebody just up and coming?
Either way.
Well, I mean, yeah, we have Tom Duquesnoy, even though he lost, but it was a very close fight. He will be back, and he's hot right now. And Landon Venata, and we have Will Santiago, a brown bomber. He's nasty, like powerful fighter. There's so many, man. I mean, I don't know. I can't even. My mind is going in circles because I have so many guys, man. I can't. Bevan Lewis, we have Bevan Lewis, just won in a Contender Series. Possibly going to get signed to UFC soon. And actually, a mini version of John Jones, they call him. Very creative with elbows and knees and stuff. We have so many, sir. I'll have to actually sit down and make a list. Yana Kunitskaya from Russia. She just won Invicta FC title. She was here. We have Tilik Mashrapov from Kyrgyzstan. Amazing fighter. He's 8-2. Actually, if anyone's hearing out there, he actually needs a manager to help him find fights and stuff, help him guide him in America, because he's on a 5-fight win streak. All 8 fights, actually. He was 8-2, all 8 fights by finishes, submission, KO, TKO, all of them. And then the only 2 that he lost was a while ago by decision. He won like everything in Russia there is to win. Got 2 belts, and he's here now, trying to set him up with a fight in Alaska. He potentially could be a really, really big name. We have Bakhtiar Abbasov just came from Azerbaijan. He fights in ONE FC. A powerhouse. Like, I mean, there's so many guys here that you don't hear or you don't follow. They just like, they'll come in and they're running through these guys and stuff like that. And you're like, holy crap, man. And then, yeah, I mean, I can go on and on if I start thinking about it. There's a lot.
Understood. Now, if people want to learn more about your gym, how can they get in touch with you to learn more about how you sign up, how you come take a look at it, do whatever they need to do? Where can they go to make that happen?
Yeah, very easy process, very well thought out process that allowed me to recruit a lot of fighters. So I built a website. It's called jacksonwink.com. 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 So people go on there, all information on there. On the front page, there's a button that says New Fighter Inquiry. So you click on that, and you fill out a questionnaire, the things that I need to know in order to exist as an invite-only gym, So you have to submit an application. So I'll review it, and I will respond back to you. We have a frequently asked questions page on there of how everything works. Pretty much what happened since day one, I was collecting all the questions and things that people wanted to know. And everyone kept asking me the same things, so I collected all and kind of wrote out all the questions and answers and stuff like that. So, and yeah, all the information on there. I try to limit the phone calls because my phone rings nonstop, and it's just like, and a lot of it now at this point is just solicitations because I have a message on that that says go to jacksonwink.com. So yeah, just go on there, and got my email on there as well, info@jacksonwink.com. So yeah, it's a pretty easy website to use, just basic informative website just for the gym. We have our own, I recruit through, we started our podcast show as well. We just had Johnny Hendricks the other day. It's called JW Raw with Eminem, with Mark and Misha, actually. And my buddy is Mark. He's Mexican and I'm Russian. So, yeah, we have fun with these fighters.
Michael, once again, thanks so much for taking the time to do this. Very much appreciated. Thank you for taking the time. And that's our interview with Michael Lyubimov. I hope you had a good time. Thanks so much for listening. My name is Dmitriy Shakhnevich, and if you want to learn more about me, please visit www.dshacklaw.com. And this is the Fight Lawyer Podcast. Till next time, folks.